Mary Rosanna's brother, who's living with Brad. That report came up that a nurse that worked in the COVID unit that he was seeing, Ryan, had tested positive. Ryan was concerned he may have it, and now Bad Brad's exhibiting symptoms. But he told me he wasn't wearing a mask wherever he went. So now he's getting tested today. My heavens. But okay, Mr. Rhodes.
Our first one should actually be appearances in public or by person.
Our phone turned off.
Actually, our first two, because it's concerning removing administrative.
Hang on, Mark, we got the phone.
Hey, Bob.
Morning, Jimmy. Hey, Robert. Marty.
Now Brett's texting me about how he can't, he says hello and there's nobody there. Because the phone was kicked off instead of unmuted.
Welcome to the audio conferencing center. Please enter a conference type. You are now joining the meeting.
Just us. Yeah,
Hey, here we are.
what's up? Okay, I hear the people hanging in, yeah.
We're here. Okay, Mr. Rhodes was discussing the general election precincts.
Okay. I got a list that the Democrats have already put together. They went ahead and sent it to me day before yesterday. They need to appoint 132 poll workers, or 136 poll workers, and right now they have 88 confirmed yeses on their list.
How many?
88. We're below 40 short as far as the needed poll workers that have all 68 precincts up and running. They're still gathering names and sending those to me as they come through. Republicans, I have not got a list from either one of the supposed chairs. They don't have to turn it in until the end of the next week, so. But last time I talked to one of them, he was having, as he said, he was having a good response rate so far. When I talked to him the other day, so. As I said, that's going to depend, once we get our number of poll workers, then we'll start contacting precinct locations. We've kind of held off on that at this point in time because in the primary, we called them, they said, yes, we could use it, then we called them back and said, no, then we had to call them back and tell them it was moved. So we're kind of waiting to contact them until a little bit later. We've given everybody the dates to begin with. That's the same as, I talked to Marty the other day about Williamstown. Because if school's in session, we can't use Williamstown High School the way we did previously for early voting. Which he suggests Williamstown be old elementary school, so I'm going to check with that to see if we can use it. With the turnout that we had previously, the city building won't be able to handle that amount of traffic. So we're kind of wait and see until after the remainder of the poll workers get appointed. We have a.
When will you get into a panic mode, or will you?
We don't want to get in a panic mode. We just want to make sure that we start planning and to try to make sure everything's done, and then we can release to the public.
Yeah, I
This
mean,
is
we're
what's going
short.
on.
Well, I think, yeah, we're trying to get the media message out now that we're short.
Yes.
That if you're a registered R or a D or even registered no party, we could probably find a place for you.
Yes. Neither one of the parties are going to appoint a nonpartisan, but we will appoint a nonpartisan to set aside of a party person. So, I mean, they're great in our case.
They're like a universal donor, an O. And I'm like a weirdo, I'm an AB, so.
Right now.
Blood
we're-
type, that's the,
Well, we did have, and we had a lady that walked in about 2 weeks ago, just before we closed down this last go around. And she voted at PHS. She said she was in line for maybe about 30 minutes or so. But she just retired, and she said she would volunteer to work. So we referred them to the party so that they could contact them to get appointments.
yeah,
We
so
also keep that list of our own so that we,
if they're registered and they contact their party and for whatever reason they don't make the list, we have contact info, we can go back.
correct. Correct, we'll send out poll worker letters. This is our first probate hearing
Okay,
this year. Yes, we still have that, so once the parties appoint, then you guys actually, once the parties nominate, then you appoint, then we send out confirmation letters to
Okay.
poll workers with the training dates and everything.
yeah, it's an exciting time and we sure hope the selection goes smoothly. More precincts certainly will allow so.
I agree. I do think that having the express poll books, the e-poll books will help some of the lines that we have because it was alphabetical lines.
Right.
So with that, you can walk up to.
Well, certainly help in the early vote, but that's another code change we should make is that off-site early vote locations should come online at the same time as we do it here.
Correct. And we can, that is an option, we can do that, and I'd like to do that as long as we can find poll workers in the space that actually accommodates.
That's cool.
That is a big plus. Okay. Our
So first probate, I need to scoot those two chairs out.
I don't have a sign-in sheet, but we probably want to, make sure they state their name if they're speaking.
Yeah.
Sorry, okay. That's probably the best place, because that mic, he starts from the tab.
Yeah, I'm just more concerned about,
Social distance.
social distancing and how many they come in.
Chairs are all spread.
Yeah.
The other party is somewhere in the area, they haven't made it into building yet.
This is our Brenda Baker.
Remove the administrator. Administratrix is here. Wife number 3.
Will,
It's not wife.
is there a will?
There is no will.
So then
She
you
tells
have
them
to,
not to.
Is this the packet? Move back.
so,
That's it? That's it. It's not much, trust me. This is one of the responses to our letter. This was on the guy in bonds.
She's
Do something. No, we gave everybody grace. And
He said it's gonna be a long term.
that's a response letter, your letter to the gentleman about the, whether or not the time extension would affect the bonds. And that explains what their bonds are and all that. Morning, Bob. Hey. Morning.
Not bad.
binding commitment won't expire till March 4th, 2021. But then in another letter from Wayne Morgan to Rocky McConnell dated July 4th, they have an extension until January 4th, 2020. But it's still interesting that their request for rate increase did not mention this. So at the conclusion of the meeting, we'll call the Public Service Commission to see if they can authorize someone to come. Okay, Mark, if you'll tell us what's going on.
Yes, we have the John W. Barker Senior Estate.
Okay, we had a request to remove the administratrix.
Yes.
Brenda Barker, you're here?
Yes.
Okay, this is Brenda Barker. Will you tell us what's going on?
My husband passed away April 23rd. I didn't know I had to come down and become an administrator or executor of his estate, of our estate. So therefore Cindy did. She's already came into my house and removed probably $30,000 worth of stuff. She's tried to have me evicted out of my home. And they're trying to take my other home. I'd just like to see her removed.
Your other home?
Okay. The property is in John's name alone, so 50% of the assets will go to Brenda as current wife, 50% will go to his children from previous marriage. So it's a 50-50 deal. That's state law. Nobody can take it. Period.
Yeah, and I'm not disputing that whatsoever.
Your name, ma'am?
Cindy Barker.
Cindy is the.
I'm wife number 2.
That's what I normally refer to. Cindy did come in. It was he did pass away April 23rd. She came in on June the 15th, which is the reason we qualified her, because it had been over 30 days and nobody else had qualified in the estate. She did post a bond.
We qualified her on the 15th.
Of June.
Well, the 15th of June is when we put it on record. That's when the county commission met the day after, at the next time after she qualified. So that's when we do our recording. She was in the office prior to that to qualify. The property, I'm taking it that the other house that you're saying that they're trying to take is an unrecorded land contract with John's son.
I have a copy of that with me.
The land contract is not recorded. I did ask a week or two ago, and he's making payments to the estate. So that will be held in escrow until the estate is settled and the land contract is either completed or defaulted. You have determination of that, and the property is transferred into the child's name. But right now, his land contract is now basically gets carried over to the estate instead of with his father.
This is Barker Roofing family?
No, sir.
Different Barker.
Yeah,
So,
those are out towards Spencer.
We have 2 addresses involved in real estate. Were both assets in John's name?
Actually, it's one parcel of land with 2 houses on it, and it's all in John's name, yes.
Okay. Did he owe bank loans on either location?
Honestly, I don't know.
No.
Okay. So 50-50. The payments on the land contract go into the estate.
Go to the estate.
And then there's property, personal property, and potentially vehicles. Have we got an appraisement of the estate?
We did file an appraisement. Sorry. I think that there was one vehicle that was listed in your name.
The truck, which I went and brought back.
Okay. If it was in your name alone, it was not a,
Probatable asset.
yes.
And then the Corvette. And it was in his name. Have we done anything with the Corvette and the utility trailers?
I have a list of everything that they came in my home and took.
I do too. The Corvette was, still being paid on, so the car lot repossessed it.
Okay, so it's no longer an asset.
Right, and the truck at the time was a deal that Mr. Barker and Gary Troff had worked out a deal for, and he was waiting for the COVID stuff with the DMV to open back up, so that way he could go and get it put in his name. And before that happened, he had already passed away, so when we repossessed the truck, we gave it back to the rightful owner, which is Gary Troff. And I told him he could, you know, it's his truck, you can do whatever you want with it. If you want to get back to her, that's up to you. But I knew the deal that was between Mr. Barker and him, so we gave it back to the rightful owner to see what he wanted to do with it.
And he did what was right.
Okay. So. we
Nobody's
have to-
disputing that.
We have to distribute the probatable assets 50/50.
Correct.
Right.
And are we on the path to accomplishing that?
The appraisement is filed, which is our first step. As we'll say, the settlement itself cannot occur until the land contract is resolved.
They can distribute the property beforehand,
We,
and then the rent would come in 50%, and then 50% to the 5 children.
based on
Seven.
the appraisement, we have already transferred it into Brenda's name and into the children's name, the property. So it's already been transferred, so the rent itself, as you said, is gonna go into the estate account to be distributed. Once all of that is settled, there will have to be a deed that's made that basically splits that property with property lines.
Which I had already went to the bank and established a John William Barker estate account. So when the payment's made for the house, that's only in contract from his son. He brings it to me every month. I give him a receipt, and then I take the money and put it in the bank account until the house is paid for.
So where do we have a request to
Request to remove. I believe with Mrs. Barker's claim in the beginning was when the personal property was taken and the vehicle was taken. That was what started this
Yeah.
as part of the estate. Personal property. I'm not getting involved in personal property disputes, whether the China belongs to her or to that's, yeah, that's not really, I don't think, a function of the county commissioner as setting as probate judges. But as I said, right now, everything is actually on track, and I believe it's being handled the way it should be handled. Other than possibly some other personal property issues. So,
my ex-stepson, John William Barker Jr., he actually had gotten a lawyer for his house that we have on land contract to follow through with the land contract and the payments and whatnot, because, which is hearsay, so it's probably not relevant, but he was worried about being evicted by Mrs. Barker from his home because threats have been made that she was going to evict him and take the house back. So that's why he ended up having to go get his own lawyer out of his own pocket for that, just to secure.
she thinks he's gonna get evicted by her, she thinks she's gonna get evicted by you.
She
You guys,
did
yeah.
try to evict me.
I
Took me
did.
to court,
Okay.
and I have 5 minor children.
It wasn't
I
just
think
like
she now
that.
has a clear understanding of the law
Yes.
as far as what property is whose.
So may I ask a question? So she has more or less like living rights to the house that she's in, 3506. More or less.
Correct.
Okay, so,
Not
No,
living,
it is
not
one
living
house.
right.
Well, not living right, she has under 50%.
Yeah.
ownership.
50% and the
50%
kids have the other 50. Right,
And
right.
the kids have
And
the
of
other
the same.
Yeah,
as the other
nobody's,
house.
I'm not disputing that. I know she
Yeah.
gets her 50%, but I'm just saying,
Oh,
But
it's,
I'm not
sorry. Thank you for catching that, yes, sorry. It is,
it just
Both have
can't be
joint owner-
sold or nothing.
you and the children have joint ownership of that.
Yes. Yes, so my question is, as far as taxes go on the house, how does that get handled?
Honestly, I don't know how it is taxed, whether John gets his own, Junior gets his own tax ticket for the piece of property that he's living in, or if it's not, then it's gonna come out as one tax ticket.
Does it come out of the estate, or do we pay for it out of pocket and then,
He's deceased, he doesn't owe his taxes anymore.
okay,
It's gonna be your responsibility because it's your house, not his. So
So the
any
question
bill
is,
afterwards is,
should they divide the parcel?
the smart thing to do would be go to an attorney, have a deed drawn up to split it, the kid sign over 50% of the house that you're living in to you sign over your 50% to the children, it's over and done with. You have your property, he has his property. He can continue to pay the real estate, he can continue to pay off the land.
And that's the biggest thing, what?
That
We
would
did
be
not
the,
want
that would be the
to-
smartest and most simple thing to do, is just go and have somebody to draw up a deed, you sign over your share of this section of the property
There's
to
two
the
separate
children.
deeds. There's a deed for his house and his
You
property,
have an
there's a
interest,
deed for my house.
but they were
and my
both in
property.
John's name. So you have an interest in both pieces of property. The children have an interest.
So
in
we don't
both
have to
pieces of property.
redo the deeds,
You have to draw up a deed, she has to sign her interest over.
right?
Um,
So
Yeah.
you sign your interest over for that house, they sign their interest over to your house,
House
and
is-
at least
I-
we're out of
Your
that
house.
mix.
Their house is, his house is their house.
The
As long as
five,
he makes the payments.
Correct.
but if you sign it over,
You sign it
then
over,
the
you
five
lose your.
kids are the property owner,
Mhm.
not you. So be up to them to make sure he made his payments.
It'd be, because when
You
you
know,
sign
you
your
read
interest
that.
over,
That
you're
makes
signing
it
away your
absolute.
share, so that
Yeah.
your house is, that you're getting 100% of your house's piece of property.
That will give you absolute ownership of one piece of property. But that will solve your problem.
Right.
And then that would solve their problem if they had absolute ownership of the other piece of property.
So you're getting no money off the land contract side of it after you do that. But it's one of those, your house is your house without, because you're gonna sign your share of it over, because you're getting 100% of this house. Those
Not
kids,
just my
those
mistake,
kids
it's
have,
my
those kids have 50% of interest in your house, the same as you have 50% interest in this house. You're equal owners. So if you sign over your share to him, that means they own this piece of property, they're gonna sign their share over to you, which means you own this piece of property, you have no longer have an interest in this piece of property. Yours is 100%.
And then you don't have to deal with each other, you'd be done.
Other
Your
than
house
being
is
neighbors,
yours, their house is theirs. But you would not receive the money from the land contract, because that is now their house.
because you've received the house. in lieu
Because
of-
you received the 50% of your house that you don't own right now.
Yeah.
How are you saying that if they don't have a working relationship, you need a third party in there to handle that transaction?
I mean, you need an attorney to do, or, I mean, it's simple, it's a quick
Yeah.
claim deed, really.
Yes.
And it just has to be recorded with Mark.
It-
It would be simple to do, but that way, you don't have to worry about them coming into the house that you live in now. Because you've got, you will own 100%. And then they don't have to worry about you coming into their house, because they will own 100%. And you'll just be completely separate, and you'll be, basically done.
But there is
You'll leave
a,
me alone?
Can't
I wish I
guarantee
could promise
well,
that.
there is, because it's still new, there was a lot said and done after their dad passed away. Because there's 7 kids, and they have some issues with Mrs. Barker, and I don't think that all 7 of them, I can convince them into signing their share over to her because of the bad blood.
Then you're gonna end up in front of the judge with a partition deed.
What's that?
Partition deed is where the judge says,
Yeah, this is your house and that's her.
partition deed is when the judge says, this needs to be settled, and we'll put it up for public auction, and you can bid on it normally.
Pat and Mark, on this settlement,
And then then the proceeds get
because,
split.
did I just hear you start out saying that it's all one parcel?
I believe it's
That
one
would have to
parcel.
be
We don't believe it is.
a proper division of the property too.
I thought it was two parcels.
It is. It's two separate.
It's already two separate.
Mhm. Yes.
So it makes it a little bit easier.
Okay, that's
Oh,
fine.
I'm sorry, it is two, but they're both in John's name.
Yes.
I guess that's what I keep thinking, side by side
Right,
lots in
we,
John's
we
name.
want,
So, is the land contract still valid for his son's house? As of right now?
You said the contract. is
yeah,
still
the
valid.
contract would be to the estate of.
Right.
But if you guys can come up with a separate deal, then she won't have claim of 50% of that.
Right. I understand that. Yeah.
And then the 7 kids sign over their interest in her house to be done with that section.
I don't. The only reason I'm saying I don't think that'll happen is because mine and Mr. Barker's son, we have a son together. He is actually staying in a camper on the property of the house that she is living in now.
See,
And so that would boot him out, and I don't think he would do that.
as a non-lawyer,
Sure.
I've got to believe that if that doesn't happen
Uh-huh.
peacefully between the two groups,
Then we'll just,
then you're gonna go to a circuit court somewhere.
And both of you will
he will
spend
slice,
lawyer
he will
dollars.
slice the Navy in half.
right.
Lawyer dollars.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying, yeah.
It's not a good thing.
Right, yes, I agree,
And a
Because I
judge
think-
will force this transfer.
too, right. Got
So
it.
if you talk to these children,
I will
and
do my
say-
best, for sure.
you can
Yeah.
get this settled out here in the next 30, 45 days. Or else it's gonna be a year or two and it'll be the same result.
Right, in the end, it's all
And
gonna
then
be
who's gonna
the same
break
thing.
first on the lawyer fee?
Right, okay, so, the 2 payments, after Mr. Barker had passed for May and June, or April, or maybe April, May, or May and June, there's 2 payments, so a total of $800 that, John Jr. had given Mrs. Barker for the house. So does she need to give that to me, the $800, so I can put it in the estate account?
That should be an estate payment.
So you need to make that clear to her that she needs to give me $800 to put in the estate account.
Whatever he paid you should be part of the estate, and then it'll be divided with everything else.
So-
Don't exactly know what a fiduciary may do on this one.
Right, I mean, because
Because there's legal issues that a fiduciary is not gonna handle
Right,
because of the real estate, so I don't see much of a reason to appoint a
Yeah,
fiduciary.
you don't, and then the third option the commission has, which is probably the poison pill option, is we appoint the sheriff
right,
to manage all this.
right.
But you gotta work this out. If in 30 days she petitions us again to remove you, then the likelihood is we're not going to appoint you as administratrix, we'll appoint the sheriff.
Right.
That's where it goes from here.
I understand that.
So it's in your best interest, your children's best interest, Mr. Barker's best interest, to try to get this settled
Yeah.
amicably.
Well, and that's what the kids want, just to get it done and over
30
with,
days.
so everybody can move on. So how do I get the $800 from her?
Well, that's
For
gonna be
the
your
estate.
discussion. So you have a checking account
There's
in the
a,
estate.
yes, sir.
You could certainly provide her that bank and routing information and she could make a deposit.
Okay,
She won't have to hand over a check,
okay,
but she has to hand over the deposit less, she could hand it over less her share. But somehow, some way, if he had cash accounts, you can make partial distribution of those funds out of the estate account, 50% over here, 50% divided by
well,
seven.
there's,
We do have a claim already, so I would not
I have-
suggest
Oh,
doing
okay.
there
any.
is,
We have 2
three.
claims already
I have
against the
3
estate,
total.
so I would not suggest
Any
making any
pre-distribution.
payments out.
There's 3 total
Three,
that I
sorry, three
have,
claims. I
yeah.
just saw the third one.
So, in your own best interest, and for the expediency of the issue, we can postpone, we can continue this hearing for 60 days.
Okay.
And if you want to come back and do this, we will appoint the sheriff.
Right.
And that means you turn over all your folder and all your folder, and
The sheriff comes in and does an inventory and
yeah,
they take possession of the property.
yeah.
The sheriff's office takes possession of the property, so neither one of them gets a house, is that what you're saying?
Well,
Even
I'm
though,
not saying that the sheriff is gonna kick anybody out.
But
Oh,
you
okay,
want
got
all
you.
that
It'll just
property.
make sure everything's civil and taken care of.
And assess that everything is,
And so the personal property that you remove from the house, that'll all have to be inventoried.
Yeah,
because
The
it's
simple,
50%.
fact is,
Yeah, I'd like
from
to
this
know that.
moment on, if you don't sell or work out a deal, it's not gonna get better, it'll get worse, one way or another.
Yes.
Yeah, so you,
Can she, in writing, I'd like to know where everything went.
she has to provide an inventory for any property.
Yeah, for
that was
probate,
removed.
and, yeah,
And we're here standing as the court of probate in this matter.
and there isn't,
So, personal property that was removed, the estate work said it was like $1,500 worth.
yeah, yeah,
So, producing that list of personal property that was removed is critical for everybody to get along. Correct, Mark?
yes.
So let's get that prepared, share the list. And in 60 days, if this is still festering, we're gonna have to deal with it.
Okay.
We had a checking account
That-
that I'm not able, I'm scared to death to get into.
Is it a joint account?
It's in his name, but
Then
we
it's
both.
estate.
that's the estate, that's the,
You might have been a signator to it, but families will have a checking account that'll say two keywords we see. Steve or the wife, or it'll say and. And the and account ends up being a probatable asset, the or account is not.
Correct.
And we don't know about any life insurance.
Correct.
Okay.
yeah, that checking account that she's talking about, when I went to the bank, they just took that money in that account and moved it to the
The estate.
estate account, and that's where
So you'll
everything's
have to
at.
have an accounting of those funds as well.
Yes, yeah, I just got a printout from the bank on my way here,
And if
actually.
you were listed on there as
A
payable
signature.
on death or as a signator, the bank would not have moved its money out. That's fair,
Banks don't
because
like
they
it.
call us on occasion and say, this is who qualified, right? Just to verify. Especially our local banks.
So we come back in 60 days, is that what we're
If you get
requesting?
this resolved beforehand, you won't.
Okay,
And you can contact the office of Mark Rhodes for any additional suggestions or input.
okay,
Right,
Well-
Mark? You're not pulling your hair out yet.
we will.
That's true.
Sorry, don't have much to grab a hold of. Keep it that short.
Well, Chris has got plenty to grab a hold of this moment.
I got more than Marty.
Okay,
All right.
so are we done?
We're done.
I'm most definitely
Okay,
gonna call
thank
the kids.
you.
All right, thank you. The next tab.
It's always the same.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Feel like a commercial end of the scene.
Yeah.
That one's snap.
Mute for a second. It's like everything. There's always a trailer involved.
That's Virginia. I can see that division right now. Got out that piece.
Yeah. Oh, we're going wrong, so.
But then
Yeah,
the
we
trailer.
were until. It was on.
You're gonna have to move it off.
Right.
Or pay rent.
Carve it out and make them part of the trade.
Into the other parcel.
They'll fight with this the rest of their lives.
What was the address on that?
They're down to,
I didn't see it.
wasn't a hot selling.
I was gonna go onto the mapping program, but what was, I can look up by his name, I think.
Thanks, Blair, to have it, Blair. I'm going to the job. Get back. I don't-
So that one, my fellow councilman, wanted to know if it's okay if he goes down the shoulder and fields questions. I want to know if he could have an officer. Well, if you think you need an officer, then you probably shouldn't do it. I said, I'm not the one to tell you, you were elected the same as I was. So whatever you feel you need.
As long as it's just.
Who is this
Don't
elected
represent the
official
council,
that wants an
don't
officer?
represent
Right. So as long as you can do it as your capacity as a
council.
council.
Don't promise anything you can't deliver, because that'll bite you in the butt.
I saw that on the Marietta.
I thought, what great timing,
Yeah.
at least take some of the tension away.
What you need to do is gather up ideas in the middle of the night to stay.
But people don't, yeah, that's,
Yeah.
but people don't realize it. I mean, this isn't your household animals. These are animals where people throw them out and dump them.
Right.
How long's this guy been elected?
The guy that wants to get down there, he was elected the same time I was. He's into his second year.
No, no, man, he's been 2 years on the council.
But he's a Facebook.
It sounds
warrior.
like a Sharon Cool
He's a Facebook warrior.
wants to have
Right.
an officer at her gathering or whatever.
If you need an officer at your gathering,
Then
you
don't have it.
probably shouldn't have the gathering.
Yeah, I like the idea, next election, I wanna get a pop-up tent that says commissioner on the corner and, just set up and,
It'd be like Wayne played the air guitar.
yeah. But I'd like to have a sign that asks me anything.
I wouldn't play like Wayne.
No.
If I wanted to go sit at the park and field questions,
Yeah.
I sure as heck would not need an officer. There isn't anybody down there that's gonna take me out. But I wouldn't do it. I mean, you're just answering Facebook people is what you're doing.
Oh, yeah, right.
Social media.
Such a.
No, if you didn't feel like you were elected correctly and.
Yeah.
But I'd make sure you read that full ordinance.
God damn. I told Jordan, I said, we need to read that ordinance, so everybody here knows exactly what we're voting for. Well, who should do that? I said, Blaine, he's the attorney. He used to read them all the time. He goes over to Blaine and he goes, no, I'm not doing that. I'll just summarize it. And I thought, I mean, I would have looked at him and said, no, you will read it. No, I'll just summarize it. And of course, he leaves stuff out and adds stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, which,
Read it as written.
Saw it on Paul last night.
did you?
Saw it on Paul.
Interpretations will get your problems.
Well, I told him, pointing him, I said, that's the one person that I would have.
That's what you decided.
But then he wanted to. I said,
Oh.
I said, we could get a young pup. That's, you don't need, we're not doing heavy stuff.
Yeah, right.
I mean, it's just, it's just meet code for municipalities, that's it. Well, good, I'm glad it was at least discussed, because I've been on. I don't have anything profane, so. I don't know, I haven't looked it up, but I bet you we're paying him $40 a year for doing nothing.
Pretty good bid.
Real sweet. Because he, originally, when I first came in, we paid just a base, here's what you get, I think it was 20 grand. But then he started this stuff and nobody ever challenged him, just gone us for everything.
Yeah, it's fine. That's 20%.
Yeah, that's it. I never looked at it that way, that's what that is.
We ought to send a letter to the governor. That's how much our CARES Act has been distributed to us.
Really?
Maybe you later. So we asked for 110, they gave us 37. We asked for 101, they gave us 39. We asked for 38, they gave us 38. We still have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Mark said he talked to them and asked them why all of a sudden, or Tony or somebody did, why all of a sudden there's a delay. And they're getting new software or something and don't expect to check for the next 2 weeks is what some reports. So everything's been held up.
So let's see if it says under review.
Yeah, Blair. Heard yesterday that the governor of New Jersey sent out ballots to everybody, all the registered voters. Hear that?
Yeah, that's what they do in Washington State and Oregon. Montana may as well. They lamented that it was a 75-mile ride to a precinct, and so they do vote by mail, but if you're registered, you get a ballot. Ours is you have to request a ballot. And so if they know how to do it, you count on people like the Secretary of State and the county clerk, and if they have a commission form of government, they oversee the checks and balances to make sure that the voting is correct. Flooding a system with 1 million ballots from out of the country does not seem legit as a fear. Fear level is I send Pat a ballot and his wife gets it and votes it for him because she thinks he'll vote one way and she wants to vote the other. That's a concern. The West Virginia State Code, you can only drop off 2 ballots. I can't say to grandma and grandpa, well, come get your ballots. And I'll take me and my wife's. 2 ballots. And at a future meeting, Todd and Brett, I'd like to show the people how these come out, how they arrive at your house, what's inside, how you send them back. Because it's multiple envelopes and multiple places to sign. And the ballot you send is not like the old days where we had to read them, Republican and Democrat sitting here, Republican and Democrat sitting here, and we hand the ballots apart and look at it. And I say, that's a vote for Tom Joyce. And then on the other side, they enter it into the machine. These are scams. So
Was it New Jersey that said they did this in one county in New Jersey? Or they sent
The whole state.
20% of the ballots came back undelivered.
Well, it said.
Well, that's,
Up to the legislature to approve.
I heard that yesterday.
well, when we mailed out last election in the primary, the Secretary of State authorized us to send out a mailer to every voter, whether they were on the rolls or not. And we sent it out on a piece of paper. Marty, if you need to text Steve.
Is that a request form?
Yeah, it said this is how you, and then you had to mail it back. We didn't do it as other counties did, and they had hard card stock so it would make it through. But we had a lot of things come back at that initial mail out. Right now, I do like the situation we have. And you know, 8 years ago, they all talked about internet voting. And that hasn't been mentioned one single time. Because I think they realize that's much more ripe for abuse.
Right.
And so that's gone away. I haven't heard any of the pundits even say that's where we need to go, which I figured some of the more progressives would have been saying, hey, look, you should be able to vote on your cell phone. So actively sending out, that's where Trump even says absentee voting is fine. But when they mass send out ballots, we think that's got a corruptible.
I don't think we can handle it.
No, I mean,
Especially when they do it, they won't open the ballots to the day of, or the time ballot when the precinct's closed. You could not handle that.
no, I don't like opening the ballots at time of precinct closure We begin opening the ballots and feeding them into the counting machine when we start early voting.
Supervised counting.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Absolutely.
So, look, we've been round and round so many times about making sure every vote gets counted and
I'm
every
still
vote's
impressed
done
by
right.
what you do, because that's so accurate. And I just think everybody tries so hard. It's just a good thing.
Well, Chris is there making sure we don't get hacked on the voting. It is a thorough process. Just need to make sure our T's are crossed and I's dotted. I think that's a fear level that has been expressed by me, that if I drop my ballot in the mail, do I know it will be counted? And I said, yeah, it arrives at our store. Sometimes they arrive without postmark. As long as it comes in before election day, it counts. If it's postmarked election day or before, it counts. But we begin doing canvassing on Monday after a Tuesday election, and if we get through canvassing and ballots arrive after that are postmarked correctly, someone will challenge our count only if it's a tight election. So if I get beat by 5 votes and on the Wednesday or Thursday after canvass, 25 ballots show up, we're going to get served to open. And I get it. We may have to adjust our final, but Mark may say, once you declare the election certified, nothing happens after. And that's a fear of a slowdown at the post office. So we discussed, and I talked to Chuck Flannery, called me yesterday. He's going to be up here with the Secretary of State on Friday. I told him what I wanted to discuss. He said he's going to see if he can carve out some time to meet, to discuss early vote, to discuss the election. And Mac's been strong, and I really give him credit. He really has been. He's been a strong proponent of every ballot count, every vote counts, and you can't dissuade somebody from voting. I love Mark's idea. We're going to get all the precincts open. That's great. God knows what's going on, if we'll have kids in school. Here we go with outbreaks.
I go to Belpre, get anything I need legal stamp. Belpre Post Office, they were very nice people, and they have a huge date stamp, and they'll put it just to the right or left of the stamp, and everybody in this world can see what it was. And they're very nice over there.
Oh, I thought this would get a fight with Marty.
Ah, there you go. Wonder who wrote that.
It's an old one, but the southern states never seceded, which they did by vote, right? But I didn't know they kept the stars on the flag. Didn't know that.
Well, because if they didn't leave them on the flag, they were in essence recognizing the fact that they had seceded and were no longer states.
So they couldn't recognize.
Right. Lincoln was big on making sure that we didn't do anything to recognize the fact that they had seceded.
Hey, everybody complains about the drive from Route 50 home. I love Route 50. We had just come through a rainstorm and you could see the clouds. And the mist coming off the hills. And so I posted this, not that picture. That picture got posted to Facebook. And a lot of likes, dropped them all off at college.
I like how you were blurred.
Yeah, I love that. And so someone said, what a nice pic, and I said it was a great day. I was a little out of focus.
That's right.
And my mom sent me a direct message on Facebook. Hey, is everything okay? And then she called me and said, hey, is everything okay? I said, why? Well, on Facebook, you said you were out of focus. And I said, the goddamn picture, Mom, what the hell? So he had a fun time. And then this is his, when we pulled up, we had to go to, that's a Marion County Health Mobile Unit Health Department. No, that one's not Health Department. They had a trailer, but up to the car came Dr. Martin, the president of Marietta. And then there's Kim getting his bed fixed up, there's Will getting his desk. So it's like an apartment. Shared kitchen and family room, 2 guys on this side, 2 guys on the other. Will's bathroom mate is 400 pounds.
While we have a break in the action, I had a request from House Calls Hospice is having an event up at the Underwood Shelter on Sunday, October the 4th at 1 p.m. Some of our clients serve in the armed forces, so we will celebrate those families with military honors in addition to our other festivities. They want to plant a memorial garden up on the hill. I don't know how big.
Where? Fort Borman?
Yes, they said they will. Our office staff would like to take the responsibility to plant and maintain the small garden if you so grant us permission.
Do you want to coordinate with them to take?
Well, I just thought if you guys say yes, we'll just give it hand it off to Karen.
That's fine.
But we don't want anything big. If they don't take care of it, we'll just mow it down.
They don't have to do this. Maintenance is the big problem there. All one day, dead the next.
Well, or deer.
You're not planting anything smooth up there.
I doubt it. So do you guys have any problem with them doing that?
No. Winter fruit.
Second. Have fun.
Damn.
It's a great organization.
Well, I can't find John Barker. Sounds like a crowd dog.
Maybe Jonathan or something. Doesn't say it, it says John Barker Senior. I wonder if it just says,
Well,
yeah.
I think the boy with the trailer's outside here trying to work that out.
Awesome. That's strange, you can't find. I won't be here tomorrow, so if anything breaks that up, y'all have fun.
Anything happening?
Well, I'm getting
Okay.
10:30. Is there any- There's, I know there's one request.
We're in
to file a
probate.
claim or something. I don't think it's
Probate
anything big.
will,
I'll-
that kind of
I'm
stuff.
going to Carolina, so.
Waiting on the next person to come in and show up, so.
Enjoy.
Oh, yeah.
Talk to anybody?
Even though it's only a couple of days. I can take you for tomorrow.
I was over in your office. Did I drop a little black wall? Okay.
I don't think so. That's a girl.
You have $100 bill in it.
And I have my driver's license. Little wall, big wall. Can't turn it up.
You say it was black? Black?
Yeah. Monday we were here, right?
Yep.
Then I came over one day last week.
Good morning, what you doing? said, what time are you gonna come over? I won't, well, probably, oh no,
We're in the yellow.
I'm in a commission meeting. Probably, Michael has golf thing in Marietta this morning. Got to pick up an employee at 1:30, so after 1:30.
No.
Okay, thank you.
I couldn't find that first letter we got. I found the envelope on your thing over there, but I could not find the letter against the PSD, but I did find the second one. They CC'd all the members on, so they've already got that letter. Made copies of the stuff we got from the PSC to get.
And after we adjourn, we're gonna call the PSC to request,
Sure.
yeah, they request they send someone to our Monday meeting. Maybe to observe, maybe to ask questions. I think that would be good, maybe to offer their assistance. Which would be awesome.
Well, I was just gonna give this stuff to Blaine because he can handle it.
So we have the Phil Ashcraft estate, the Gary Fleek estate, and the Elaine Dimon estate.
I think Martin's gonna handle those.
Yeah, I think several of those are already taken care of essentially.
Request to remove a co-administrator or add one, consider to have claims disallowed. Those Gary Fleek and Sheila Fleek estate and the David Denon. Oh.
What happened to Mark? I don't know what happened to Mark.
David Denham was a good little guy. Short.
She's taller
I'd ask
than
him
me.
for $5, but he's dead.
Or $5 up, but he looks a little short. But he's dead.
Tom got invited to go see Briggs. Tom Joyce.
To do what?
Tom Joyce got invited to go see Dr. Briggs when she was in Charleston.
Did he go?
Aww. Joe Cummins was a good guy. He rented cars from time to time.
It seems like there's been a lot of people about it this year.
And that's the thing, the CDC, you know, our deaths over normal death rates is pretty significantly elevated.
Is it?
Yeah.
My Sunday morning customer said deaths last month were low. Takes a lot of
Right.
Charleston,
I mean, they took a good hard look at each place,
places.
especially family and court side.
Yeah.
Basically, they weren't
There's 2
bringing
weeks of this
any
month,
outside
that's
air, it's
16.
like hitting that button in your car,
Right.
which is constantly recirculating inside air, which is,
Yeah.
says, I think that guy, there's a brought an extra Supreme Court record, and I thought, okay,
Right, yeah.
and it's like, you're supposed to be bringing in 15%, so. Plus we're getting these sensors in the line that sense the humidity, and plus we're getting UVs to kill anything.
Oh, good, yeah.
So,
That'd be nice.
yeah, we're putting them on all the units.
Yeah.
That's CARES Act stuff.
Mason,
Yeah. So
Right,
that's,
Shrine,
hours with them.
Legion.
Absolutely. I'm heading back over now, so.
yeah, see.
Yeah, that's where I'm from. Volunteer at Camden Park. And he drove kids to the Shriners Hospital.
That's awesome.
Gentlemen, I got a
provided
10-3.
See you.
Thank you.
That's awesome. Have a good guy.
Yeah, he had a good attitude. He was always fun to be around. With the News and Sentinel charging to write obits, he gets a big obit at the 11th funeral home. He's paying them back. Wow, 10 to 19, we have 6 positives in a 7-day window.
Let's hope that doesn't explode.
Well, that's the school.
I know, let's hope it doesn't explode. Scary.
I'm so sorry.
September 8th, 2 days a week. I still don't understand why they're doing it the way they're doing it, because they're doing like Monday, Thursday, and Tuesday, or Tuesday, Thursday, Monday, Friday. And then
We had
cleaning up-
50 active cases.
Cleaning up Wednesday. Well, then why would you have one group Monday, Tuesday, clean, the other group Thursday? I don't know why.
Did anybody else read that the president's brother that died was from the coronavirus?
He was on blood thinners and hit his head. Fell down, hit his head, had a brain. Because I tracked that down. I wanted to see if he was a COVID death, but he
That's
was
a terrible
not.
word.
No, I just don't know whether he fell, hit his head, then was out the whole way.
It's terrible.
Or if he had, don't know. Went up and met with a place called the Healing Center located in Monroeville, Pennsylvania, a suburb of Pittsburgh. They're a medical marijuana retailer, and their operation was phenomenal. A lot of ex-law enforcement involved, their security was high, everything. It was amazing. Standalone building, 100 cameras, 100 with 40 actively monitored. They record all the cameras, 100, Chris, and they have 2 years worth of data. They have license plate readers, so they have secure entrances, 2 of them, and they have license plate cameras.
Seems cold in here,
Oh.
That's coming.
you know?
That's coming.
Yeah, they bought property, they're gonna custom build, it was a 6,500 square foot building.
Whereabouts?
Outskirts of Pittsburgh, but,
At Monroeville?
yeah.
I don't know, I've been to Monroeville.
Right by their mall, but a guy in a white panel van shows up, 2 of them. They back it into a garage, secure garage, shut the door. 2 guys with pistols get out, both ex-military, and they're a transportation company, so they're delivering the marijuana from the manufacturers. Everything is sealed. So if I want to buy 3.5 grams, a quarter, eighth of an ounce, it's in a little container and has a little security tape on it, so they can tell if it's been opened or not. Their inventory system is amazing. They barcode everything. They have it in a safe. When you walk in the door, you're met by, looks like one of Stevens' deputies, but he's not in uniform. Just has his Healing Center shirt on, but he's got a Sig Sauer full size on his hip. And so you go to the window, you produce your medical card and your ID, they let you in, buzz you in. Then there's another guy with a gun on, and when it's your turn to go into the retail side, he buzzes you in and you go.
What's this place for?
Medical marijuana. They have 3, at the time, they had 3 pharmacists on site. The pharmacy director, who was a regional operator for Rite Aid, regional pharmacy manager, 2 other pharmacists. Your first time in, they sit down with you and do a medical consult, because he says, we're against recreational drug use, honest to God. Because that's where you get a guy eat a handful of gummy bears and don't realize how high a level of THC they have, and he ends up in the ER. Which the only thing the ER can do is put you on maybe some Valium and put you on a drip to get you out of this high. Medical marijuana is sold as a tincture. They gave a lot of examples, but when I'm standing there watching the lines of people come in, they're not businessmen or, business housewives. It's a whole mix of people.
So how do they get a script for this?
They go to an MD and get a medical marijuana card through the state. So he just says, yes, cannabis may make help for you. You get the medical marijuana card. Then I go to a dispensary. This place will have you do a medical consult. And the first thing we ask, are you experienced with marijuana? And if you say no, or it's been 20 years, then they go over the different products and what the duration will be and how it will work. They said they had a lady that was in there for back pain. She already had prescriptions. She wanted to wean herself off of it. That's a prime example of someone we can help. But it was really unique. And I think they track sales. They do daily inventories. Busy days, they do 2 inventories. They see over 600 people come in a day. Their gross sales were in the millions. Net sales after expenses was pretty stout. They have 5 locations in the PA market. They said what will happen here is the dispensaries will come first. The growers will come second. There's lots of hurdles. But we're going to get in there and build our business. And we'll staff it like we do here. They've been open 3 years, never had somebody quit. They've had to fire a couple, but no one's ever quit. So, but lots of security. Inventory control, everything. And we discussed urine screening, we discussed a whole variety of things. But
where would they get their supply?
That's the question. So the distributor, the product, and the grower in West Virginia were supposed to be arm's length arrangement. So a guy makes it and packages it, and they buy it. But they say in West Virginia they changed the law, so now it's all integrated. You can have a grower, packager, and seller all be the same company. So they're looking into a little bit of that. But we'll see. I think it's unique. It's really interesting.
How's your garden? My tomatoes done.
I'm still getting tomatoes and squash and peppers. My second crop is squash and onions.
I got a few onions in the ground, not many.
I put a second crop. I'm gonna put, second week of September, I'm gonna plant a bunch for next year. I've never done that.
I put a bunch of onion sets out last fall in my flower garden. And they went through the whole winter snow and everything.
That's what I'm trying to do. They say they're supposed to be bigger and better.
They are good. They're good onions.
Yeah.
But you're supposed to have to soak, they said you're supposed to soak them in water for a day before you plant. Which I've never done that.
I didn't soak them.
But that's staking, I'm still on my original squash, I staking. They're still producing.
Wow, or they climb up the.
They don't climb, they just, you have to tie them off.
Oh, you got time.
You have to force them up. Then you remove all the leaves underneath wherever the plant is.
Never seen squash steak.
I didn't either. But it keeps a lot of that powdery mildew out. Which I always have problems with that. I'm still getting lots of tomatoes. I've got enough, I'll probably make another batch of salsa Sunday. Or not salsa,
You ever cook tomatoes like that, put and chop up zucchini and or squash in it? Put a little sugar in it, cook it. It's really good.
I take those and chop them up, put in green peppers and hot peppers and Italian dressing and throw it on the grill.
You have a grill basket? You put it in tinfoil.
Well, no, I'm putting in the pan because I put the
Well, you say, well, it's right.
bag seasoning.
Huh?
I might get it.
I don't know what, he's holding up 3 or 4 probates.
There's not one guy.
I don't know what's going on.
Somebody come.
Hey, Mark, where are we at?
We have 2 more hearings. I told people not to go up. I'll
Jimmy, you can cut out. Bob and I will stay and take care of it. We will call down to the PSC, invite them up to see if they can lend assistance or critical info. The packets the PSC gave us, Marty will make copies for the Public Service District when they come in, but we're going to ask questions based on that.
I mentioned to
And
Mark
others.
earlier that we have to tell them that they're not gonna be sitting in the middle fielding everything. They could be on the side.
PSC.
Yeah, PSC's not,
No, we don't,
I'm not gonna put them in line of fire.
no,
yeah, that's how it's a courtesy kind of thing.
sure. We'll tell them that. Our discussions as far as requests for documentation. So the PSC provided us a little bit, and then we asked them something, they provide us a little bit. They're not fully responsive.
You got a page and a half.
Page and a half. You saw what that woman from the PSC did. She took these pages and was looking at the back of them. This is it? So they go from a ream of paper they have to deliver to a page and a half. So you have the packet that they gave us at the PSC hearing, not that. When she came, you know, the packet, you know, the short one and the big one of all the questions the PS, you have that document or not?
This is all I've got right here.
Okay, so Marty's got copies.
I've got copies, just in case somebody said they didn't have it.
So you gotta read that
Here's
stuff.
your rate making.
I got a call from Rocky to tell me that they, her salary is a loan that was taken out. The president board didn't know about it.
The what? The bond. The bond.
We've already called the fires that be on that bond in Charleston. And you've got, that's what that response is for.
Okay.
But they've got an extension all the way to January 1st, 2021.
If they have to pay it, I still have to pay it.
Well, first West Virginia game, there's no fans.
Yeah.
We'll still tailgate it, Jimmy. Let's go. I'll take the fireworks.
The only thing I was unclear on, Blair, was they almost made, and the PSC lady can answer this, but they almost made a case for transferring money out of that fund to help their other stuff, but that the law changed in January? Because there's several transfers out of there.
You have to have a document where they have transfers in and out.
Yeah,
This
you
thing, these are the 2 pieces you really want to look at. Read them over. But we went through this document. You showed them how they put funds into it. 2017.
See you, Jimmy.
Thank you.
It seemed like every single month they put money in. You know? And then you go into 2018, balance forward, transfer out, transfer to revenue account to help account receivable. That 20 grand, that jumped out at me because all it says is transfer to revenue account to help cover AP. Well, so then they put money in.
What?
Once they set a date, once you set a date, don't
So they're borrowing from one account, pay their accounts payable.
Right, and they may say, well, that helped cover accounts payable because we did X, Y, or Z with
That would have been no.
Well, it doesn't say that in your account, but he transferred it to
This
Clyde.
guy here's complaining about leaks.
Yeah,
Everything gets leaks.
but bad leaks are bad. So,
That was the 945, by the way, so.
damn, 76,000.
It gets solved.
No. He's bitching.
I don't know why they sent certified notes to us. And that's how I still don't know, is that monthly, bi-monthly, weekly? So it's what's your salaries and all that stuff, and they don't give it to us. They don't say this is. But if you read over the PSC documents, that'll give you good questions to ask. Really good. So 945,
945 was to remove the administrator or appoint the co-administrator that refused to be appointed to begin with. That was him. The sister filed a settlement, and now he wants to contest the settlement. So I'm gonna see if she just won't send me a copy of the bank recs to show this is the insurance money that went in. You're not getting screwed out of $5,200. You got a check for $137,000, be happy. Anyway, your other two is basically just disallow claims.
Okay.
Nobody has showed up for those. We did call the executors in both cases, told them not to show up. The assets do outweigh the claims. It is basically credit
We'll
card,
take a
medical.
peek real
Fleet, Mrs. Fleet, and then David.
Certified letters.
Certified letters were sent out and received.
Is no relation to a county employee, right?
No, sir. I love it.
Okay.
Just for the record.
I'll take a look and then we'll make some motions.
I think we're gonna end up appointing the sheriff in that one. The first 2 minutes out there went fine, and then it was back to family feud.
They all got mad at each other?
Yeah, at least they didn't bring the jackass son with them this time. That's the one that family is the one that Donna called Angie and said, send the deputy.
Yeah.
That's that family. Wife number 3's jackass son took pictures of Donna and Heather when he came into the office one day and started asking questions.
But David down in the state is pretty straight.
Yes.
5 children. 3 of theirs, 2 of theirs, and 3 step. Okay. Bob, if you want to take a look at that, then we'll take a motion to disallow claims.
So you just want to have a fun morning, Christopher. You should have been out there. You should have recorded that side of it.
I've got a guy that lives on Sayre Avenue. And so he is outside city limits. He's been having trouble with water and sewer for going on 6 months. He says he's paying the PUP, City of Parkersburg, and included on that bill are fire and police fees. So he's still having trouble, and he's upset. And he's so upset he wants to have, where is Sayre? It's off of Rosemont.
It's off of Rosemont Road.
There it is. His family's lived there forever. They raise cattle or did at one time. Hey, Lachelia.
Let's tell you. Is that back in there where, Doc Davis had a little farm back in there? On Sarah Avenue. It's in behind, Metacrest, isn't it?
Yeah. There he is. James Lutz. He's definitely in the city, in the county, not the city. And so I have contact information for Mr. Lutz, but he's beside himself.
Do you have a phone number for the mayor there,
Which,
Tom?
yeah,
I saw him drive his car down. He had something hanging out of the bottom of his car last night.
his Subaru.
I was gonna call him and tell him.
So anyway, he wants somebody to help intercede with him. Oh, now it wants to populate. Yeah, I mean, I'm sure Pope would like to buy him out, but you can see he's got a nice little setup. House, barn, shed, off-site parking, got a tree down in the front yard.
Didn't hit the house.
No. He says that they worked on the water line, the pub did, and put a kink in it so his water's all effed. And it's been really terrible for the last 6 months. And he's not getting anywhere with Parkersburg Public Utility Board wants to have have us enter it. But I was just shocked that his water bill has fire and police. So if the pub pays if you pay water to the pub because it's proximity, and they automatically add fire and police fee, that's refundable.
I didn't say because I know Barb had pub water. She lives outside the city. She would have bitched if there would have been police and fire on there. But she finally got them to sign the waiver so that she could go on Union Williams. Water, because they had a lift station. Every time the fire went out, they had no pump.
Yes.
So they had no water. And I cannot imagine Barb paying for police and fire.
No.
Yeah, is it in Parkersburg? McKinley Carter Wealth Services, 515 Market Street. That is the building that used to have a drugstore on the first floor. It's catty corner from Jimmy John's. The parking lot's smooth. Right. Let me Google that for you, Cam. because there it is.
George Kaczynski's old office.
Is McKinley Carter McKinley Elementary? Because we just can't figure this out. Let me Google that for you. Hey, I'll send you a link. I'll just send her a link to Google. So anyway, we'll try to figure something out for this guy. And maybe they just missed him. Maybe he, well, he's got a neighbor that's talking to me because this guy's shy and doesn't want to get anybody mad at him, but it's really starting to weigh on him. So I'll get a name and phone number and we'll play with that.
So did you guys have motions on anything?
Hey, motion to disallow the claims as presented.
Second.
Anything else for the good of the order?
I got nothing.
All right, anything, Bob? We'll call the meeting adjourned and then we'll get off the cameras and
I had an offer from Paul Hobbitzell to have the director of
the pub.
the pub review any numbers that Blueback presents and see if he spots anything.
Let's see if we can get the PSC to help us too. I think that's probably a wonderful offer, and tell Paul Hobbitzell we appreciate him offering his direct and finance people to help. And we'll see what we can get at.